With the spring anime season coming to an end and being nearly a month behind schedule, I finally present to you my spring anime watch list. And spoiler alert, it's basically the equivalent of a middle schooler who just found out about MMA. From 1v1s, a one-man army, and fighting and fast forward, these anime have taken what I feel is a season chock full of fighting-focused series and given themselves their own identity. After just barely over 20 years, Yaiba has taken a page out of Disney's book and have done a remake. And just like Disney, audiences weren't the biggest fan of it. But hey, let's give it a chance. The series starts off strong, with its opening giving off the same hype vibes as Boruto did with its opening scene. We are then introduced to our spiky-haired swordsman. No, not him. Not that one. Here. This one. This little shit. Sorry, that was a bit aggressive. But I only lasted for 4 episodes because, oh my god, did I hate Yaiba. But we can get back to that later. Focusing on the fight scenes, they are a major upgrade compared to the original 90s anime, which is to be expected, as the original was animated by Pastel Studio, who, despite doing animation for Initial D, the company has less than 15 anime under its belt, and it shows. But now Wit Studio has taken over, whose track record needs no introduction, and has given the series choreography a massive overhaul, giving the fights a boost of momentum. Not just in making the characters' movements very fluid, but in giving the camera a sense of weight, giving a nice grounded feeling, compared to the 2 basically flying swordsmen we follow. With us being introduced to our protagonist, a feisty, unpolished swordsman with a fountain of untapped potential, training with his father in the jungle to begin drawing out his talents. But after pulling a Curious George, Kagetora, his father, and their tiger end up in the big city. And after pulling the usual anime father trope, Kagetora ends up staying at a dojo for kendo, where he decimates the best student there. But the point that loses me with this character is when he loses to Tien Shinhan, and starts acting like a whiny little brat, playing dirty in their swords fights, stealing Onimaru's gear, then legit trying to kill him with an arrow. But besides the characters, the fight scenes are so full of energy, with the art's thick lines really helping to bring the animation off the screen. With no lack of visual interest, I would say Yaiba is still missing one thing, but we can cover that later. China has come out swinging this season with 2 fighting anime, one that has audiences raving, and then there's Super Cube. Now, I know I just crapped on Yaiba's story and character, because he annoyed the hell out of me, but at least he caused some emotion, because this series, I felt nothing for the characters. All I know story-wise from what I can remember is our main character likes this girl, but so do these dudes, so they almost kill our main character so that they can be with the girl, but then he becomes overpowered after finding a shiny rock at the middle of the lake, and the main love interest gets kidnapped, which rings the gong for basically Enter the Dragon multi-floor foes. Sort of gauntlet. But we aren't here to rank the story, because if we would, it would be F tier. No, instead we're here to talk about the fight choreography and its animation. What Super Cube has down to a T, in my opinion, is for sure its speed. And if you've ever seen older Chinese film clips from shorts, you know Chinese martial arts thrive in speedy choreography. But like fighting video games, the speedy characters are lightweights and don't really pack a punch. And Super Cube falls into that category, because there is no sense of weight behind most of the punches. Personally, there was no impact that got a damn moment from me. But there was something else missing that another series I think did better. To make a long story short, Super Cube fights are the same speed as most YouTube audiences when a channel tells them to like, comment, and subscribe, or when there's a mid-channel ad. Like for example, right now, this episode is brought to you by...
There is a bar.
Fight bar?
Yes!
Oh, that's cool.
There is a fight bar in Japan! Oh my gosh! It's fat, sodium, carbs,
Fat?
sugar.
The first ingredient?
Fat, yeah.
No,
it has
let me
0
see.
grams of total
Let
fat
me
on the
see.
first thing for Coca-Cola.
Oh my god, dude, you need to learn, bro. That is the ingredients, that's the mixture. You need the ingredient list.
Well, I was looking at that thing too.
Oh my god, Brandon.
Look at the nuts and bolts. Look at the wiring. Oh my goodness. How many engines does it have?
Don't ever say that again when you're looking up saying, look at the nuts.
On that note, Coming to you live from a dumpy little garage in San Fernando Valley.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Brandon. And this has been Bridging Otakos.
Now, having punches that feel like it could blow up the moon and speed faster than lightning is good and all. Is it entertaining as hell? Of course! But that's when it's in a vacuum, and it's perfect for something like YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. But anime isn't just these clips you find randomly. It's an art of combining so many elements, and at the heart of it is storytelling. And from the series that I watched for this video, the best has to be Windbreaker. It does what Yaiba didn't for me, having characters I enjoyed and connected with. And unlike Supercube, the fights lasted longer than one episode. But I give Supercube a pass because Windbreaker's speciality is the old boy type fights. The one-man army thing that honestly never gets old. And so that does take a while to go through. Even the 1v1s take a few episodes due to the series allowing the fighting to take a backseat to emotion, and giving us instead of good versus evil, it's more one ideology versus the other. And this element helps elevate the fights, because you have someone to root for. So adding that element to fight choreography that you know is going to be used in a lot of edgy AMVs blasting heavy as the crown is freaking awesome. The mob fights are so dynamic, it feels like there's an actual mob. Unlike this scene from Star Wars, where these guys literally wait to then strike. Like, Sakura almost gets tapped in this fight because fighting a mob tires you out, and someone can get the drop on you. But then the 1v1s are just brutal. Seeing the blood and bruises from these hits packing a hell of a punch really makes the hand-to-hand combat feel grounded and gritty. But, as much as I stated, story is a vital point to my enjoyment, the rule of cool wins, because the top fighting series I have been enjoying the most this season, like a lot of people, is To Be Hero X. This series had me hooked from the first episode, with such a major shock, which honestly kind of reminds me of this scene from Ava, to then introducing the concept of gaining the people's trust in order to have powers, which is so fresh and different, and the repercussions that come from it, like Nice having OCD, or the firefighter unable to bend down. It's cool. And to be honest, they do what Wangan Midnight does as well, with having a cliffhanger almost every episode. And damn it if I'm not a sucker for that kind of shock factor. But I'm getting off topic. To Be Hero X's fights are so original, not in the sense of combat, because superheroes have been punching each other for a while, but it's in its visuals. The switch from 3D, which honestly doesn't look bad in its own right, to then this dynamic 2D graphic novel look is an overload to the senses, equivalent to seeing hyperspace in Star Wars, and is used tastefully. Because if the graphic novel look was the staple art style, would it still be recognized as brilliant? Yes, absolutely. Hell, that's what's been carrying Demon Slayer for the past few years. But the sparing use of it makes it even more impactful to the audience. And not to take away from the 3D, because it also carries its weight, especially in Nice vs. Godeye, because this hit is masterfully expressed. And it does what Supercube couldn't, having one episode fight scenes have the emotional factor that Windbreaker does, but in a cleaner and tighter way. With the prime example being when Nice fights his arch nemesis. There is enough backstory revealed to understand everyone's motive, but cutting out any extra fluff and getting to the root cause that created the villain. And this fight is vastly different to the one in the opening. Instead of it being grounded in the studio, they then took it to the heavens, building on the abilities of the characters who were present. Unlike Ninja Kamui, who built upon each fight and tried to outdo it to make it a bigger and grander spectacle, and then it just got ridiculous. To Be Hero X has made superheroes feel larger than life in a great blend of modern portrayals and a callback to their origins. This season has been a fun fight club, and I know there were other great series to watch, but these were the ones I picked. But if I'm missing out, let me know in the comments. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, once again for boarding this edition of Mexican Express. I'm your conductor, Brandon, and we've arrived at our final destination. Please, don't forget your belongings, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can stay up to date on the next time this train leaves the station. Bye-bye now.